Hello everyone, this is Petrikov, and today on V Rising, we're going to be working on the Silverlight units and what they all can do. Hey guys, this is the Footmen. It's the generic unit that the Silverlights have. It's basically one of the larger numbers you're going to be dealing with. As far as servants are concerned, this guy has some things going for him that the other two did not, such as the thug and the light soldier. Unfortunately, it's not enough to make him any good. As you can see, he has a bit more range, but not that much. And his damage is about 3 points higher. But all in all, his ability to hit you is abysmal. He does have a lot of health. He is a brute blood, so that makes him a little more tanky. But all in all, I really wouldn't waste your time with this unit. I would give it a 2 stars, just because it is a unit that has reach. You might find a use for him, guys. I haven't yet, and I think there's a lot better units out there. 2 stars. That's going to be probably the lowest I'm going to give any of the Silverlights. Alright, so now we're going to be dealing with the Riflemen. Now this is the diamond in the rough when it comes to all of the archer types, all the range types that we've seen. I basically shit on every one of them. Now this guy, I actually think is pretty good. Now, these guys are mostly, I would think, the bane of any horse rider. Anyone who's dealt with them knows what I'm talking about. They are deadly accurate, incredibly difficult to avoid. Outside of a direct dodge, it's very hard. Now, these guys don't do a whole lot of damage, but because of the fact that they're consistent about their damage and do have a decent amount of health when they are turned into a servant, they're pretty good at dealing with single enemies. Like in a group, I think these guys are pretty good. As a harasser, I think these guys are great. And one of the things I think is the most important thing about these guys, they would probably prevent an enemy from healing so long as the enemy isn't coordinated. That's not something you want to bank on, guys. So on that note, I would give this guy a 4 star. And but there are better units out there. I would suggest grabbing this guy in the early end game. I wouldn't recommend keeping these ones. There are better units out there. All right, so now we're going to be dealing with the Knight Axe Edition. Now, this is a decent unit when it comes to health, when it comes to attack, but there's one Achilles heel to this guy. He doesn't have any strategy to him. He's a swish, swish, stab, stab type of guy, which is all well and fine. He does a decent damage, but that's a one-trick pony deal, and we're looking for diversity. We're looking for a unit that can fight on equal footing with a high-level player, or at the very least present a challenge. These guys are basically a tankier version of the Footmen, with less reach. These guys do not have a shield bash. They do not have a charge ability. They do not have a dodge ability. They are simply a unit that walks around, lifts up an axe, and swings. So, all in all, guys, I just wouldn't recommend this unit. It doesn't fit the bill of what we're looking for here at end game. So, I would honestly just ignore this unit. If you find a high level one, cool, turn it into a blood servant. It's a decently beefy one, so it's a little harder to lose on the way back home. But otherwise, I just wouldn't go for this unit. I think they need to do some changes. Alright guys, so now we're going to be looking at the Knight Claymore edition. This is a vastly superior specimen. As you can see, these guys swing quite a bit more, but they also hit for less. But here's what makes them vastly superior. Their charge ability. They're able to get up to the distance and attack, and they also have a dodge ability that they can use to get up and attack you. So they're the most similar to a vampire you can get in this game right now, as far as defense is concerned. These guys are a great harasser unit. They are a great tank unit, but they would not be considered the front line, the main guy to deal with, because they do have less health than some other frontline units you'll fight. So I would rank this guy as a marauder brawler type, not a frontline tank type. I would recommend only having one of these guys, and I would rate them at a 5 star. If you get more than that, I would say they go down to a 4 star, but I don't see them going any lower than that. So you could get about 3 of them; they'd be considered 4 stars. Would be a decent force to deal with, but I personally think that you would probably go as far as getting 2 of these guys, because there's a lot of units you want to grab to make your perfect team. And I think this guy definitely has a slot in the aid game team. I hope you guys find some really great ones and try them out. Alright guys, so now we're going to be dealing with one of my favorite units, the Cleric. She has a fantastic long range ability that does a lot of damage and does a slow effect. She is a mid-range unit, so she's able to be doing close range and long range, and she has this great shield ability that causes stun. It does have an Achilles heel to where she holds it a little longer than she should, um, and basically you can just go around her when that happens. But she has an ability that I think is unique to her and is one of the best abilities in the entire game. I'm about to show you guys what that is. She has a charge ability that has a great amount of range that will give your allies and you an overshield. She also has the ability to heal people. So she's a healer and she's a brute class, so she has a lot of health. She's a fantastically versatile unit that I would honestly consider a 5-star AAA unit. I would recommend having at the very least 2 of these units. Now, as usual, the more you have, the less return you get. But this unit's a little different as far as that's concerned. I would consider this a unit that you can get 2 of very easily, and it would honestly just improve the abilities of your units. I've not tried 3 yet, but I think that 2 is the right number. She is tanky. She has the ability to do stun abilities. She has the ability to block spells, to heal, and to give you a shield. And she's relatively tanky, and so that makes her perfect at mid-range and close range. Highly recommend this unit, guys. Get it as fast as you can. Alright guys, so here's another great support unit, the Preist. This guy has a slow attack. It really won't hit very often, but it does a lot of damage. And he also has this ability to create turrets. He can, at my knowledge, create about 3 of them consistently. And what those do is they will lock down a vampire in a radius. So long as you stay away from them, you're pretty good, but they are fantastic control. They will lock down an enemy really quickly and then consistently do so. I have very many times met my end to a priest because of his allies. These guys are not great on their own, but they are vicious and terrible when dealing with anything else in the room, because this guy can lock down an entire party. He is vicious, he is capable, and I highly recommend one of these guys, no more than that, because that's all you need. This guy is great. I would recommend him as a 5-star support class. They do have a relatively low amount of health, so you're going to want to be careful with them. Alright, so now we're going to be dealing with the Paladins. These guys are one of the most powerful warriors you're going to deal with because they have a lot of versatility. They have ranged abilities, they have a good amount of damage, and they have a critical shot that does a lot of damage. Every one of their hits causes slow. They are a fantastic unit, guys. They also have a charge ability that does not cause stun if they hit something, and they have a radial attack that causes a decent amount of damage. So these guys are the tank you want to use. I would recommend 2 of them. Now, you'd probably be thinking, why not just grab a whole squadron of these guys? They seem to have the most abilities, they seem to have range, they're incredibly tanky. What's not to like about a group of paladins wrecking my enemies? Well, they're kiteable. That's generally what you would have to deal with. Yeah, it's a fairly effective unit, but you have to realize that an enemy will think about it and not jump head first into a group of paladins. They'll kite them. They'll be cheap about it. They're going to be fantastic if you're in the game, if you're playing and you're defending your base. Probably one of the strongest parties you can have. But when is anyone ever going to attack you when you're on? You want to have versatility. Great unit, 5 stars, but only 2. Alright guys, so now we're going to get into a Lightweaver. These are the ballista units. These units are fast, they do a lot of damage, and they have a lot of different types of attacks, and they do persistent burn damage whenever they hit. They're a fantastic unit that has an ability to teleport and attack consistently. I honestly think this is one of the best damage dealing range units you can find. She has a great radial attack that is stronger than any other. I generally think this is one of the most solid units you can get. However, I would only grab two of these guys because their health isn't great, and generally a group of four players will target this unit quickly. So you're going to want some healers, you're going to want some frontliners, and then she's just going to be back there laughing at the enemy as they all burn from holy damage. Fantastic unit, 5 stars, AAA unit, and actually one of the only ones that managed to kill me in this video. Recommend them. All right, so now we're going to be looking at some of the strategies I would recommend for these units. Every one of them have a great amount of health. A lot of them have versatile abilities, but there's a trap to be aware of in this fighting group. Do not just fill your group with Silverlight units. They all seem great, but there's a degrading return if you fill them with too many. I've seen people use too many Paladins and end up losing their base because the enemy outsmarted their opponents. Now, I would recommend a grouping that consists of 1 nun, 2 clerics, 1 priest, 1 knight, 2 paladins, and 2 lightweavers. That is one of the groupings I found to be the most effective and versatile. What you want to do, guys, is make it harder for the enemy to outthink your dumb AI servants. So generally you're going to want to have a lot of things going for your group. And I personally think that it is a solid choice to have some of the Dunley units with you. That way you can kind of look around and see what you got. I actually think the Brawler is a fantastic unit to use because they're very aggressive and they're tanky. They might actually be a good replacement for the Knight as far as a harassing tank is concerned. I have to say thank you everybody for your support. I am going to be trying to put some more videos out there. Put on the comments below, like and subscribe, but let me know what you want to see and what I can do for you all because I'm here to inform. I want to help you guys. I want to help this game, and I think we can all create a great community here and generally make bases to make enemies cry. Now, I'm probably going to be working on a raid video next and kind of how you should think about how you should attack somebody. So I'm going to kind of go in there and look at a few bases and kind of take apart what I believe they went and did the wrong thing for the defenses and how I can exploit them. Let me know what else you want to see, and I will definitely work on that for you.